Absolutely. Thanks for that introduction, Noriko. Science Mob is really exciting. It's something that I'm going to basically take 12 months off out of my life to try and get up and running. And what I really want to be able to do, and the Science Mob team wants to be able to do, is engage with scientists in universities and also people who are enthusiastic about science and working in science at home, on the weekend, as a hobby. So I think we already got a bit of an introduction about who's setting up Science Mob. It's going to be a not-for-profit incorporated entity. One of the things that got me really interested in this is I started looking at some stats, and in the second quarter of 2009 we have almost 41 million people in the world going out and buying themselves a smartphone. Same quarter for 2010 you've got almost 62 million people, and that statistic absolutely blows my mind. And that's just in a 3-month period. You've got almost 1% of the world's population going out and buying themselves a smartphone. And I thought to myself, wow, you know, here's something that's really going to change the way we do business and the way we do science. And so what is it about these devices? The amazing thing about them is they have all these sensors on them. So they've got the camera, they've got the GPS, they've got the compass. You can take voice notes, and they've also got all this amazing array of connectivity, which is all good, and there's lots of things we can do with that. And more recently, we've got this bit of excitement happening where Apple and Android are starting allowing you to interface with these devices, and you can have all kinds of interesting things, other sensors coming off them. So the iPad at the moment, you can buy yourself an oscilloscope that plugs into your iPad. So it's really becoming sort of this mobile science platform. And wouldn't it be great if we could go out there and connect different types of sensors? So you could have soil moisture, temperature, humidity, rainfall, or whatever a scientist might want, a spectrometer, and you could collect data about the environment, nice objective data, and be feeding that back to a community. I don't know if you guys know much about the open source hardware movement. So there's a whole movement out there. This particular one's Arduino, and basically you can build anything you like. It's a bit like having an enormous bag of Lego and all these different bricks, and you can think of something and you can create and come up with your own design. I'm actually going to go talk to Sadi tomorrow about using one of these. At the top you've got 14, oops, how do we go back? 14 digital inputs and outputs. And what we can do from that is string off it about 100 temperature sensors off each of those, and we're going to put them out on a vineyard and measure the temperature and hopefully be able to stream that back to the web so you can get a heat map of exactly what's happening. And you can imagine you could do the same for soil moisture and other variables as well. So I'll give you a few examples of what I've done with these technologies. I've really started engaging with them last year, going out to some schools and some other places. One of the things I thought would be cool is if you could go out and look at invasive species and help school children to tag where these species might be. So basically with these guys from the Karoonda Area School, we went out, we had a wonderful afternoon, nice and sunny, and we walked around, and I used a program called MyTracks to track where I was going. This is on an Android platform, and I used Picasa. And as we went along, we were just geotagging the images, and we were able to make a map of where the invasive species was in the environment. And we started getting some interesting patterns that occurred more around the edges near fence lines, but not in the middle. It was things that the students hadn't thought about before, but until they saw it mapped out in front of them, they weren't going to think about it in that way. So I even think for community groups who are quite interested and they want to get rid of invasive species in their local reserve, these kind of tools are really quite exciting. Here's a database that I built for the Murray-Darling Basin NRM board here in South Australia. They had a bit of a problem. They used to aggregate statistics. People used to send it to them, and they used to have a spreadsheet, and then they'd email the spreadsheet back. But we made a community monitoring database online. It's sort of where these technologies are heading is interfacing your phone so it automatically updates this information. With this particular model, people have to go in and put their data in there. But what you can get out of that is you can see all the different sites and the participation that we have in this program. People can have a look. what other contributors have put in, and you're measuring things like turbidity, salinity. People can download that data as a CSV or a XML file, then they can take that, they can mash it up, start having discussions about it, which is a really nice way of doing it. And there's no way that the board could have enough resource to go out to all these places and be monitoring these spots as often. This is one of my favourites, and anyone who likes watching birds will know that these people are absolutely avid about going out and collecting data. And here you can see data collected over decades, basically showing where this grey fantail is distributed in Australia. And what we're looking at here is the seasonal variation and the migration pattern of this bird, and this is all from crowdsourced information. One of the research programs I'm involved with here in South Australia is called TREN, Transect Research for Environmental Decision Making. And one of the things we got really interested in was phenological change, so change over time in plants from summer to autumn, losing leaves, these kind of patterns. And you can see here in near maps the same place at Waterfall Gully, and you can see a whole lot of trees and how they've changed over time. And it's nice to have these kind of maps, but we started thinking to ourselves, wouldn't it be great if we get people in the general community to go out there and take photos of photo points and then be able to stitch that into a time-lapse movie that you could share with everyone. So actually the tender to build this thing will probably be going out this month or early next month. And so you can get wonderful things like this. And really the kind of inspiration for that, in my mind, is I really like this video. It's a whole year in 40 seconds, and it really makes you think, because you probably get about 80 of these, and to be able to demonstrate that to people, change over time, it might start making them think about the environment around them in a slightly different way. It's absolutely magical. And that's what we hope to be able to achieve in this application, but at multiple points, and be able to make it free and open, so if anyone here is interested in a particular location, they can start a point up, and away you go. Right. Just last week, actually, I was out with these guys, and to me, this is where it's all heading. This is that fusion of open software, open hardware. This is a group at James Cook University, and it might look very sort of scientific and things, but it's kind of been put together with bits and pieces from JCAR and a Bunnings. You've got a couple of PVC pipes there with some end caps. And what these guys are doing is they're taking something that Ames made and cost $80,000+, and they're trying to do it cheaper. And at the moment they've got it down to about $2,000, and I'm sure they'll get it down even more. So these things basically sit out there in the environment, and they collect data in real time and stream it back to the web. And this is where I can see sort of people in the general public getting a real value out of knowing what's happening outside of their room. One of the things that happens when we engage with these mobile technologies is we often stay inside, but this is a way of bringing the entire environment indoors and making people recognise what's happening out there. So I've left all these links at the bottom, and we can make this presentation available, Noriko? Yep. So if you want to go off and interact with these sites and go have a look, please do. And I think that's pretty much it. At the moment, our website is still not up and live. We're waiting for the incorporation documents to come through. Once that happens, we'll make it go live, and hopefully we'll get that out to you guys. And if you're interested in interacting with us, we're certainly interested in interacting with you. So thank you.